Hey guys, I'm Gabby, and today I've got a feel-good flow for you. We're gonna start at the front of our mat in a seated position. Hands are gonna come rest on our knees, and we're gonna take a couple moments here just to tune into our breath. Begin to inhale and exhale, allowing the length of our inhales to match the length of our exhales, finding a pace, a rhythm. We're gonna bring both hands to the mat beside us, and then you're gonna lift that left hand up, bring it to the right knee. Right hand is going to reach behind us as we twist to the right. Right hand crosses over to the left knee. Left hand reaches behind us, we twist to the left. Left hand to that right knee, twist to the right. And right hand to that left knee, twist to the left. Plant that left hand down, bring the right to meet it as we shift and turn to the back of our mat, finding ourselves in tabletop pose. And adjust yourself here, check your alignment, and begin to drop the chest, inhaling and looking up. Exhaling, pushing the ground away, spreading the scapula, tucking the pelvis. Inhale, drop that chest. Exhale, push the ground away as you round the spine. Inhale, look up. Exhale, push that ground away, spread those scapulas. Inhale. Exhale. Stay here for a moment. Our pelvis is tucked, our back is rounded, and we're gonna shift our weight so that our shoulders are now reaching past our fingers. We're gonna untuck the hips, we're gonna arc the spine, and we're gonna push and pull ourselves back towards child pose. But before we reach our heels, we retuck the pelvis, we round the back, and we shift our weight back forward again. Untuck that pelvis and wave back. Retuck as we wave forward. 2 more. Wave back and wave forward. Find yourself in your neutral alignment. Spine is strong. Send that right leg out behind you. 3 hamstring curls. Heels to the back of the thigh. 1. Everything else stays stable. 2. 3. Extend it back out. Bring it over and tap towards the left. And then up and over and tap the right. Plant that foot down on the ground and roll yourself up. Arms to the sky. Right hand comes to rest on that right thigh, and we take a deep stretch over. Back to center, left hand comes down to the floor. You can do, palms flat or up on your fingertips. Right hand comes up. We're in this half side plank. You're gonna shift your weight into your fingertips and that bent knee and hover that right foot off the ground. And then we do a crunch, bringing our knee to our elbow, sending it back out. Our arm now reaches behind us. And we're gonna try to tap our toes to our fingertips. And back out. Bring that foot back down to the ground. Use your core and sit up. Right hand back to that thigh for that side stretch. And then follow that circle all the way down to the mat, meeting back in tabletop. Extend that left leg out behind you. 3 hamstring curls. 1, 2, 3, extend it back out, up and over. We tap down to the right, up and over to the left. Plant that foot and roll yourself up. Arms to the sky, left hand to the left thigh, side stretch to the left. Right arm goes up, and then we bring it down to the side next to us, up onto our fingertips or palm. Left arm goes up. Shift your weight onto your hand and knee to hover that left leg off the ground. Crunch for a knee to elbow. Send it back out. Arm goes behind you. Bend so that you toe tap those fingers. Bring it back out. Plant that foot. Rise up. Side stretch to the left. And follow that circle all the way down into tabletop pose. Here we're gonna walk our hands forward into a puppy pose, but we're only stretching the shoulders here. We're not dropping the chest. Spine is long, neck is long. Drop those elbows and roll yourself forward into a seal position. And breathe here, lift the chest. And if you'd like, you can plant your hands a little bit towards the side, straighten those arms and lift the chest even more. And bring the elbows back down. Straighten one more time. And exhale them back down. Lower yourself down to the mat. Hands come to our sides. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, push up to a plank. Drop those knees down, untuck the toes, and find child's pose here. 3 breaths. Lift the chest, round the back as we find our way to tabletop. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Walk it out here for a moment. We're gonna step, hop, or float to the front of the mat. We come up on our tippy toes, we bend the knees, we gaze between our hands, and we make our way towards the front of that mat. Sink the hips down, rise into a chair. Stand all the way up, hands come to our side, shake it out. We're gonna shift our weight onto that right foot to hover the left. Step it back slightly behind you and turn to the side so that you're in a short, wide-legged stance. We're gonna practice engaging our legs for a moment. So you're gonna shift towards the left, coming up on the right tiptoes. Engage the muscles, activate everything, bring it back down. Same thing to the other side. Shift your weight towards the right, lift the left heel. You're on those toes, activate those muscles, bring it back down. Shift your weight to the left, come up onto those right toes. Arms go out to our side. Cross over, find eagle. Hands can stay here, or maybe you want to find eagle arms, crossing the left over the right. Arms open back up, release the legs, find that wide-legged stance one more time. We're going to shift our weight to the right, coming up onto those tippy toes on the left. This time, we're going to take the left knee and tap it to that right calf. These are like a variation of shrimp squats, single leg squats, whatever we're gonna call it, and make your way back to that standing wide-legged stance. Same thing on the other side, shifting our weight to the left, tapping knee to calf, holding the single leg squat, and coming back to the mat into that wide-legged stance, making our way to the right, and finding eagle on this side. Arms are extended out to our side, or we cross right over left for eagle arms. Release the arms, release the legs, turn to the opposite side of our mat, feet together, hands come to our sides. Shake it out. We're gonna shift our weight onto that left foot, hover the right. We're gonna step it out behind us again and open to the side of our mat one more time. You're gonna use the pinky side of your hands to find that hip flexor crease where we bend. You're gonna place your fingers there, and we're gonna fold over our hands, bringing them down to the mat. Breathe here for a moment. Halfway lift. Plant that left hand in the middle on the ground. We're gonna twist and open up. Right arm goes to the sky. Bring it back down to the ground and switch. Right hand plants, left spins for the twist. And bring that back down to the ground. So here you're gonna adjust a little bit, and what we're gonna do is come up onto our tiptoes, bring those heels towards each other, back down to the ground, sit down in a squat. Shift your weight back into your hands, straighten the legs, straighten the feet. Again, shift your weight into your hands, lift those heels, coming up onto the tippy toes, bringing them closer together, sitting back down into a squat. And straightening those legs one more time. This time we're gonna shift our weight into our hands and we're gonna begin to rock, finding a little bit of momentum. Lifting our heels and coming back down. Shifting our weight into our hands and coming back down. On the next one, we're gonna rock forward and then hop those legs slightly farther apart. And if you didn't get that far, that's no big deal. Just kind of shimmy your feet out to the side a little bit as we begin to bend our left leg and sit into a side lunge. Right leg is extended out to the side. Feet can be pointed or flexed. Arms can be in front of you or down on the ground for some support. If your arms are up, bring them down to the mat as we shift our weight back to center and over to the right. Flex those toes or point them. Maybe you do both. Hands are gonna come towards that right foot. We're gonna plant them on the mat. We're gonna spin and step back into a downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. We're gonna step, hop, or float to the front of the mat, come up onto those tippy toes, bend the knees, gaze is in the middle of the hands, and float. Chair pose, and all the way up. Shake it out. Weight goes into that left leg as we hover the right. We bring it out behind us into a lunge. We open up into a warrior two. We're gonna windmill our arms all the way down into a twisted lunge. That back knee comes to the front calf. Single leg squat thing. Step it back out. Rise back up and find that warrior two. Awesome job. Arms go up as we find a wide-legged stance open to the side of the mat. And then turn to the opposite side, finding warrior two one more time. Windmill those arms and find that twisted lunge. Bring the knee to the back of that calf. Point your toes. Step it back out into that lunge. Rise up and find that warrior two. Feet together at the front of our mat. Shake out your wrists. Hover that left foot off the floor. Whoop. Step it back into a lunge. Whoop. Arms go up. And here, we're gonna take that back leg and we're gonna bring it knee to chest. We're gonna extend it out in front of us. We're gonna bend it again. We're gonna squat down and bring that knee to the back of the calf. And we're gonna step back into a lunge. Grab a hold of those elbows. Breathe. One more time, back knee to chest. Extend it out, this time flex the toes, bringing them back towards the body, and then slowly lower, hovering it off the floor so that we can make our way into a warrior three. And slowly step it back to a lunge, arms up, and down, framing that foot, step back into a plank, chaturanga, untuck the toes, up dog, and downward facing dog. Walk it out here for a moment. Step, hop, or float to the front of your mat. Chair, rise to standing. Hover that right foot off the ground. Step it back into a lunge. Arms go up. Breathe here for a moment. That back leg, we bring it knee to chest. We extend it. We bend. We bring that knee to the back of that calf for the squat. And we step back into a lunge. Grab a hold of those elbows. Release your arms up. One more time, back leg, knee to chest. Extend it out, flex the toes. Slowly lower, allowing it to hover as we make our way through to warrior three. And slowly lower down into a lunge, arms up. And then hands come down to the mat, step back into plank and vinyasa. Up dog. And downward facing dog. Tabletop and sit back in child's pose here. Take a few deep breaths. Lift the chest, round the spine, make your way into tabletop pose. Tuck those toes, find downward facing dog. Walk it out. Come up on those tippy toes and make your way towards your hands. Sit back, sink the hips, chair pose, rise all the way up. Arms go up, we forward fold. And here you have two options. You can shift your weight into your hands and hop your legs crossed, or you can just cross the left over the right and then spin so we're facing the opposite direction on our mat. Walk your hands to a downward facing dog. Come up on those tippy toes and walk your feet all the way to your hands again. Coming into this high plank. Breathe here for a moment, the highest. Putting all your weight into your hands. And then bring your heels back down to the ground. Relax for a second. And just kind of hang here in a ragdoll. Maybe you straighten and bend the knees. Just find some movement. We're going to sink the hips and sit back in chair one more time. And instead of standing up, we are actually going to lower all the way slowly down to the mat. Hands can come behind you, or they could stay in front of us lifted, and we're going to find half boat. Chest is forward, spine is long. Bring your feet down to the mat. Shift your weight back into a squat. One more time, we're going to sit back down on our butt. We're going to lift the legs to that half boat. Arms are in front of us or behind us, and now extend to full boat. Feet back down to the mat, find that squat. One more time, we're gonna lower down. We're gonna find that half boat first, and we're gonna find full boat. Feet down, find that squat. Hands come down to the mat, and we're gonna take crow pose here. So our knees come to the back of those triceps. We lean forward, gazing in the distance, flying for crow. And if you can, from here, jump back into chaturanga. Otherwise, bring your feet down and hop your way back there. So I'll show you both. So that was one way. Or From crow, you can bring your feet down and then just jump back into a chaturanga. Up dog and downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths. From here, you're going to shift forward into a plank. We're pushing the ground away. Our scapula is spread, our hips are slightly tucked, and we're gonna lean past our fingertips. We're gonna untuck the hips. We're gonna find that arc in the spine as we lift and push back into a downward facing dog. And like a wave, we rise back into our plank. Shoulders moving past our hands to untuck and send ourselves back. 2 more. Up on those tiptoes, send yourself forward. And then wave back. 1 more. All the way forward. Untuck those hips and find your way back to downward facing dog. Walk it out 1 more time. Step, hop, or float to the front of your mat. Get up on those tippy toes and float. Rise up into your chair, all the way up. Whew. Are you getting tired? Because I am. All right, so here we're gonna go 1 more time. Our right foot is gonna step, slightly in front of us. We're gonna find that 1-legged squat, and we're gonna slowly lower ourselves all the way down to the mat. Right knee is gonna meet the left. Sit back on your heels and back up. Right foot to the mat. Left meets it as we rise. Same thing, left. We're gonna step slightly to the side to find some space. We're gonna bring that right leg to the back of the calf. We're gonna slowly slide down. Left knee meets the right, sitting back on our heels and pulling ourselves back forward. Left foot down, right foot meets it. Here we're gonna go all the way up with our arms to the sky and forward fold. Come up on your tiptoes and tiptoe your way back to downward facing dog. Adjust if necessary. Inhale and shift your way to a plank. That right leg, the knee is gonna come between the hands down on the mat, and we're gonna find ourselves in pigeon. And here we're gonna begin to just release all of this power that we've built up. So you breathe here. And if you'd like, you can extend your pigeon, walk your hands all the way out in front of you, spilling your chest over your legs. And walk your hands back in front of you. Tuck the toes, lift that knee, step back into a plank. Same thing on the other side. That left knee comes between the hands. We find pigeon. We think about releasing. And if you extended it on the other side, do so here also. Walk your hands back in front of you. And you're gonna sit back on your butt, and we're gonna face the back as we open up to the side, sorry. And we're gonna bring our feet together, the soles of the feet together for bound angle. And maybe you find some movement here. Or maybe you take a deep inhale and you spill forward. And you let your neck hang. And roll up. You're gonna bring your hands out behind you as we sit back and we bring our legs in front of us. for the last semi-powerful thing we're going to do, you're going to lift your hands off that ground. You're going to hover here in this low boat and slowly, slowly, slowly make your way down to the ground. Bring your knees to your chest. Give yourself a little hug here. Open your arms to the side and drop those knees to the right. And bring them over to the left. And back to the right. And back to the left. Bring them back to center. You're going to raise your arms out in front of you. You're going to bring your legs up and keep a slight bend and release the tension in your muscles. And this is called, I think, dead bug. We're just going to lay here for a moment. Our body is stable. Bring your arms down to the ground overhead. Begin to rock your legs towards you and then away from you as we sit up and we find ourselves seated once again. And we release. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that. I definitely did. As always, take some of these things and keep practicing them. If the waves didn't make too much sense during the flow, take them and break it down during your own practice. Sometimes during a flow, it could be really hard to doing the motions, paying attention, trying to figure it out all at one time. So a lot of this stuff is designed for you to just have your curiosity piqued and then practice it more and more on your own so that you have a really really fun home practice for yourself. Yeah, so I will have another flow for you next week. Thank you guys for joining me.